Hello and welcome to Total Arena. Today we'll be talking about the 10 things you should know before jumping into your first battle. First, we'll be looking at a few general rules on how to work on your army composition. Then we'll be taking you through how to use the tools to work with your team. Finally, we'll be giving you 3 tips on how to improve your skills. And yes, veterans player will be happy to know that we'll be talking about friendly fire.
Army composition. Knowing your commanders. Pay attention to commander skills to choose your units. Knowing your commander, and especially their skills, is one of the most important factors when choosing which units you are going to take on the battlefield. As you can see here, this commander's skills can only be used by certain type of units. In this instance, the skill Fury of Boudica can only be used with melee infantry and war dogs. Therefore, taking other unit types will deprive you from the usage of this skill for those other units. You can check if a unit can or cannot use a skill by clicking on the unit portrait, and check if the skill is grayed out or not. As a side note, if your commander is below tier 3, the second and third skills will be grayed out. If the commander is below tier 5, only the third skill will always be grayed out. Check out your commander before going into battle to see what units would be most effective with him. Knowing army composition. Don't take 3 different units. Either take 3 times the same or 2 identical units and a third one to compensate for the other 2 weaknesses. Controlling 3 different units is very hard and may often lead you to failure. Using 3 lots of the same unit has the advantage of you knowing what all of them can do, therefore making you more efficient. This can also make your units more effective. 3 lots of archers will deal more damage than if you only had 1 unit of archers, for instance. However, this will leave them unprotected. Taking a third unit different from the 2 others will help compensate for their weaknesses. You don't have to wait for an ally, who might be occupied somewhere else, to take down any pesky archers chipping at your infantry's health. You can take a cavalry unit and chase them away. If you're unsure how to change your troops, click on a unit in your squad, change the tier if need be, then either drag and drop the unit into your squad, or click on the price of the unit you want and select the places in your squad you want it to fill. Remember that the first unit on the far left side will have your commander in its midst. Knowing your playstyle. Define what you like to play most: cavalry, range infantry, melee infantry, pike infantry, and or siege weapons. Here's a short presentation of all the different units to help you build a better understanding of how they work. As you know, you have the choice between 3 different factions to play, but all factions have different types of units to choose from. It can be a bit mind-blowing at first, and we recommend you taking the time to try them all out to see which one suits you best. Range units excel at damaging enemy units before melee combat starts, but you'll need to master your evasion skills against cavalry. Roman infantry are your melee experts, and have few rivals in that domain. Barbarian infantry are great at outmaneuvering your enemies to flank them. Cavalry are there to chase fast units that don't perform well in melee combat, and outmaneuver enemy units to break their morale. Spear infantry are the most solid wall of defense you can find on the battlefield, if you manage to protect your flanks and your rear, that is. And later on you can unlock pike infantry. Artillery units are the slowest units, but are here to support advancing troops and force enemy units to take cover to slow their advance. They can only be unlocked from tier 3 onwards. Keep in mind that depending on your chosen faction, a similar unit might perform or play differently when combined with commander skills. Also, some units might be harder to master than others. Knowing how you can spend free experience. Don't spend free experience right away. Play first, spend later. It usually is best used at first to buy more commanders. Free experience can be spent in many different ways: to quickly upgrade or boost your commander or a specific unit to the next tier, to improve your commander's skills, and to unlock new commanders. As the only other way to unlock commanders is by spending gold, we recommend unlocking commanders first with free experience. Please note that the more commanders you have, the more first win bonuses you get daily, and the more free experience you will receive this way. Another good thing to keep in mind is that you can spend free experience to upgrade your commander's skills, which improves their efficiency in battle. Playing a team-based game. Knowing where to start. Learn how to choose your starting position. Each unit has a specific role and you should choose the starting point accordingly. Now, for some short but important advice. Scouting units such as cavalry and barbarian infantry, or front row units such as Roman infantry and Greek infantry are usually best placed in the first line. Barbarian, who are more effective in forest areas, are usually best deployed near forest points. Ranged units and siege engines should then go in the second row. Last but not least, support cavalry can be used to outflank enemy lines by going on the top or bottom of the map to arrive in the battle after the first melee engagement. In the end, there are no bad places to deploy your troops if you have the right strategy to go with it. As a new player, you might want to stick with what we just explained as a safekeeping guideline until you are more comfortable trying out new tactics. Knowing how to communicate. Learn to use the communication tools to improve team effectiveness. In all team-based games, it's important to communicate with your allies, and we've designed a few useful tools to help you with this. The first one lets you draw on the map, so you can show where you'll be going or asking your allies to hold a specific position. You can draw on the deployment map, the mini-map, and even on the battlefield. By pressing any of the keys from F2 to F7, you can easily ping specific advice, orders, and requests to your teammates. The text chat, while being slow, can be useful to convey precise ideas and potential tactics before the game starts, or once all units are dead, to help secure the victory for your team by helping them to coordinate with each other and calling out for ambushes they might not have seen. Knowing teamwork. Don't charge into enemies alone, but cooperate with your teammates by staying close to at least one of them. Working as a team will often help secure victory, while being a lone wolf will only allow the enemy team to ambush you with more troops than you can handle. This is a team-based game, and everything is about how you play as a team. Therefore, charging head-on all alone will very often result in you being outnumbered, and your troops being crushed. Charging with an ally or two will help you to match or even outnumber your opponents, helping you secure an advantage on your side of the battlefield. This leaves you with opportunities to support weaker flanks, or surprise the enemy where they might not expect you. One of the most important skills in Total War Arena is outflanking your opponent, and creating situations where you outnumber or can ambush your enemies. This can give your team the winning edge by getting rid of a few enemy troops without losing many of your own. Improving your game skills. Knowing the importance of vision. Learn to use the minimap and camera to improve your battlefield vision. Knowing where your enemy is, and more importantly, where your allies are, can save your troops and give you a huge tactical advantage. Understanding when and where to be is an essential skill in Total Arena, and learning how to use a minimap will be a crucial element to securing victory. Your camera has a limited view. Therefore, it is important to play with it and scan the area around you, and further away as often as possible to have a better understanding of the action going on. You can see the amount of troops present in an area using the minimap. However, you won't know the amount of soldiers alive in each stack, and there's a difference between 6 mostly depleted units and 3 untouched units. So going there with your camera can give you a more accurate reading of the situation. Rotating your camera can also show you who's behind you, their status, and if they're moving towards you or not. While this might not be obvious at first on the minimap, once it becomes obvious, it might be too late anyway. Knowing when to chase your enemies. Check out unit speeds to see if it's worth chasing it. Do they have a speed buff skill? And do you have one? Don't let yourself be kited. It is not wise to chase your enemies, as you might either fall in an ambush or just be lured away from combat when your team is in need. But you must also be wary of being kited. Kited refers to a ranged unit shooting at a slower unit, chasing them around the map without ever being able to catch them, while their health is trickling away slowly but surely. Checking the unit speeds at your tier is a good idea to have a better understanding of who can run faster than you. As you can see in this example, the Greek ranged unit is faster than the Roman infantry unit, but nearly equivalent in speed compared to the barbarian infantry unit. Don't forget to take into account commander skills, as some may have a boost that will help their unit catch up with your unit, or have the ranged unit barely escaping a charge. Knowing friendly fire, don't ignore friendly fire messages in the upper center part of your screen. Friendly fire can be a painful mechanic for more experienced players, as a lot of newer players, and some not so new ones, may not pay attention to a friendly fire message appearing in the top of the screen. It is usually triggered by ranged units or pike and spear units. If you're firing volleys or projectiles in a melee fight, you will hit your allies as well as your enemies. And if you're in phalanx mode, walking into your own troops will end up taking them out. This is called friendly fire. Avoid this at all cost. One of the current consequences is loss of silver, and we are studying what else can be done to discourage this kind of behavior, as well as helping newer players understand friendly fire more quickly. That being said, at times it can be a good thing. One easy example is when the enemy outnumbers a small last standing unit. Having them all grouped around your allied unit is a good time to take as many of them out as possible while they are focused and staying in the same spot. You can also avoid doing friendly fire by using the skill focus fire or by turning off the hoplite phalanx mode.
That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this video useful, and we'll be adding more content in the future, so keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. Commanders, until next time, see you on the battlefield.